Well, it is time to post something again. And today I'm thinking, actually, check out my earrings. Super cool, super fun. Anyways, so today we're gonna talk about how to appear less poserish. A lot of people think very controversial topic because you can't call people posers. That's so wrong. Blah, blah. I think it's okay to call people posers if it improves them. The thing is, I was a poser myself, and people called out my music taste for being poserish, and I actually found good bands because of that, because I tried to broaden my music view. Also politically, I try to learn about the whole politics stuff. So I'd say it's not a bad thing to be a poser if you learn from it. So this will kind of be like a tutorial on how to be kind of less of a poser. I know that a lot of people hate this word, but I will use it for this video. So first things first, right? It really depends on the subculture. Well, let's say you're a punk. Then the politics matter quite a lot. You will need to learn about all about politics. You will need to learn about, socialism, anarchy, what is a communist, what is a nationalist, all that. Just so you know what you believe in. Well, for example, me, I'm kind of a punk. I'm like kind of everything, but kind of a punk too. I'm a feminist, and I'm a socialist and anarchist. So that's 3 things. He's just happy to be here. Anyways, so you have to think about the politics quite a lot if you're a punk. If you're, let's say, a metalhead, the politics don't matter that much. What you will need is you will need to nerd out about bands a lot. Yes, you do count as a metalhead if you only listen to System of a Down and, I don't know, a.k.a. and Metallica, but you will get called a poser. So the thing is, you need to broaden your music taste a little bit. At least you need to know, you can listen to those bands, but you just need to know about those bands as well, in case you get asked. I think you'd be like, you can not get called a poser because you know a lot of metal bands. Which is kind of sad, but that's how it is in the metal scene, sadly. At least when I was in there. For some reason, the more metal bands you know, the cooler you are in the metal scene. I don't know why that works that way there, but yeah. Also, if you want to be very cool metalhead, I don't know why they their whole thing is appearing edgy. So the edgier you look and the edgier you act, usually the cooler you are to them, which is again really weird to me, but that's how it works because I used to be a metalhead. So yeah, invest in the leather jackets, put it with spikes and everything, and I don't know, start collecting skulls and bones to appear edgy, whatever. Just post edgy Instagram pics and people will like you, which is weird, but that's how it currently works in the metal scene. So if you want to be popular there, that's about the metal scene, which is the simplest, I think, out of all of them. Everything else is pretty complicated. The Goth scene, it's not that important to know all the details. You just need to know at least, if someone asks you what music you listen to, you need to be able to name at least 5 goth bands. Usually people say The Cure etc. But it will be a pretty basic answer, and nobody will think you're cool. If you name like very like underground bands, kind of underground at least, like London After Midnight and something like that I haven't heard, they'll think, oh my god, they know so much about goth music, they're so cool. Yeah, that's a weird thing about their music. What else? Yeah, the fashion. I know people say that fashion doesn't matter at all. I kind of agree and kind of don't at the same time. Because yes, if in your mind you are very gothic, then yeah, you are very goth. But, currently where we're standing, the goth also matters a lot in the fashion. Because, well, people won't consider you a goth for some reason because you don't dress goth. Which is weird, but, well, it's a thing there. So the fashion matters the most in goth. Which is, yes, sad. Also, people might disagree, but sadly it's the reality, because people won't really consider you a goth if you don't dress goth and just listen to the music most of the time. Even though, yes, people on TikTok post that, yes, the music is the only important part. The most important part to them, by their videos usually, is the way you dress. And it's a sad reality, but yeah. But it's okay. You don't need to do anything crazy. Just, you can just put on some black nail polish and, I don't know, wear black clothes. It's you don't need to do anything crazy either. I actually have this one video on how to start your goth closet if you actually want to start that. And yeah, just unfortunately people will call you a poser if you listen to goth music and you dress in pink. I don't know why. What else? Another thing in goth music, people actually argue on this. Some people say you need the politics, some people say you don't need the politics. My opinion, you kind of need them because it's kind of post-punk. On the argument that it is, I'm on that side. Well, in my opinion, it is a bit important because, well, goth is about being weird, being different. And you can't really, dress weird and, go against the social standards if you're conservative. So, you have to think about that for a little bit. So, I'd say, at least, be a bit leftist if you want to be goth, because otherwise it's kind of weird that you're like, I don't know, let's say you're a conservative and you're like, a Trump supporter, let's say. That isn't really, I don't know, doesn't go with the subcultures. I have seen, very, confusing beliefs in the metalhead scene, but in the goth scene and punk scene, there should be, at least somewhat leftist. Basically, be more free-minded. Don't fucking bully people because they're different and all that. You can research this actually. This is more the points that you need to do research on to be cooler. This is mostly a helpful guide for newbies, just so you go to your first show and don't be called a poser immediately. Because I was a poser too in my time, and I made very questionable choices. My favorite band was Slipknot, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm a metalist, but yeah, well, over time I found better bands, of course. I found I found out that I like really death metal and thrash metal a lot and all that. So actually calling people posers sometimes broadens their music views. You can actually find a bunch of cool music. So yeah, in metal, black metal and new metal isn't the only metal genres. So look through all of them, listen through all of them, and see what you like best. Anyways, so that's goth. You know, dress, music, very important. That is like, the dressing part is, you can do it. It's very good if you do it. You won't get called a poser. Even like if you're not, if you listen to the music, like, nobody will question it, at least. Because if you get your pink and like you listen to the music, you will still get questioned even if you listen to the music and you know all about the music. So that is a bit important, which is sad, but it's true. And then is the political, which is, people question it, but in my opinion, kind of important. So just a little bit open-minded. That's it. You don't need to do anything crazy. You don't need to be like, I don't know, like those like crazy feminist liberals, like, like let's go on a riot. Like that's a punk thing. You just need to be like, open-minded. Yeah, open-minded. You don't bully people just because, and like, be open-minded about new ideas, and like be open-minded about, life, about politics, all that. So nothing crazy about the politics, but a little bit. Just don't be conservative. Just don't be like, people say, yeah, you can be Christian and Goth, but Christians are quite conservative, so it's a bit two-sided. Yeah, so that's about Goths. And about punks, back to punks again. Mostly it's about the right part, so like, oh, let's overthrow the government, yeah, like, let's anarchy, yes, beat the Nazis. Yeah, that's their thing, About punk, you can ignore everything as long as you have the very, very strong political view. But, of course, most of the time, the strong political view comes with everything else. The music is political, since, they're very political. The music is political. The dress is political. So everything is political for them. So the music, very like overthrow the government and all that, like, yeah, very political. Sometimes it's about life too. Like you can't just write about one topic all your life, can you? So that's the music part, right? And then, the dress, the music, very political. The dress, basically patch pants, anti-consumerism. Actually in Goth as well. Very in Goth as well. At least try. Anti-consumerism. What you're gonna do to not appear like a complete fucking poser is you're gonna make your clothes yourself. If you don't, people will think you're a complete poser. What else? Some might say don't wash your clothes that much. It really depends on you if you want to be a crust punk or not. Patch pants, obviously you can't wash that often because the paint will come off simply. So yeah, patch pants, very important. What you can make your patches with. Okay, let's go down the list. When you make your patch pants, which is gonna sound very crazy and maybe a bit elitist, to not be called a complete poser, you need to do a few things. When you put the bands on your patches, make sure they're at least from the same-ish genre. I didn't do that and I regret it, and I had to make new patch pants because I grew up and I was like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing to look at. So just so to save yourself embarrassment from when you're older, at least try to fit in the same genre when you're making your patch pants. So let's say, punk. Since they're punk patch pants, you can also make goth patch pants actually, and metal. But if they're punk patch pants, you can make, punk bands. So only punk bands on those pants. Hardcore, normal punk, Post-punk actually might as well. It's a bit like, like on the line, but technically you can because it's post-punk. Everything punk. So your punk bands. And yeah, so that's the like patches for that. About the patches. Some people say to use like, floss. I'd say that's a bad idea. I tried. It slips out very easily, so I'd say just invest in normal thread. Also, it's cheaper that way, so, Well, in my opinion, it's not as strong. I tried to tie a knot like 5 times, and it still didn't stay. So yeah, maybe use normal instead. Or there's these like thicker threads, preferably those thick ones if you know what I'm talking about. The one you use for like what's the word for it? When when you make those little like stitching pieces, that thread. That's like one, well, that kind of thread. Anyways, so what other patches you can put on your patch pants? What you can put on your patch pants in general. So one thing you can put on your patch pants, you can put can tabs. One thing you can put on there. Second thing you can put on there, actually blank patches. A lot of normal blank patches will actually make your pants look good. Which, crazy, but it's true. I didn't notice that until I started to look at other people's patch pants a bit closely because I thought, all of them are patches, right? No. And third thing, political patches. You can put a lot of political patches. I have feminism patches, I have equality patches, I have, well, feminism is equality, so those two things go together. My political view patches, like, I don't know, let's say anarchy. Yes, everyone has anarchy on their pants. That's the one thing. What else you can put on your pants? Fifth thing, you can put the things that you like on your pants. Let's say, I don't know, you have a patch that says I love beer. Actually, surprisingly, it's not that poserish. People actually like those kinds of patches, so you can actually put those. Just don't make them anything like that's too like anime community related or like everything else, because then it will be a bit weird and you will get called a poser a bit. But what else can you put? Your sexuality, your pronouns, but again, with those, be a bit careful because you may get called a poser, but you can just write your pronouns and your sexuality, that's fine. Nobody will judge you, but they will a little bit because homophobia, let's be honest, homophobia, not because it's a bad thing. What else can you put? Spikes. Actually, you can put anything. You find a scrap on the floor, you can fucking sew that on your pants. So everything you can think of, it's something like that. So that's with the patch pants. What else can you invest in? I guess band shirts. You can actually DIY a lot of band shirts. If you make your own band shirts and your own pants and everything, people will think you're the coolest fucking person. They will think, oh my god, hell yeah, they're anti-consumerism, hell yeah, politics, yeah, all that. So yeah, that's with the, general clothing. With your boots, actually for all the substyles, metalheads, goths, and punks, all of them will really love when you wear something that looks like a Doc Marten. So leather shoes, but try to actually, thrift them or find them online so it's cheaper. Not like, you know, on those fast fashion websites, but I mean on like resellers. What else? Mm, I mean, yeah, it's mostly like their fashion is just DIY. If you DIY all your fashion, you're good to go. And of course, with the hair, right? It really depends what kind of punk you are. Of course, if you are a crust punk, your whole appeal will be of looking crusty. If you're going with the classic punk, if you're a classic punk, it will be good if you can get as flashy as you can. Dye your hair a crazy color, get piercings, I don't know, get tattoos, and you know, of course, the patch pants, very important. I mean, of course, there are people that are like, no, I don't like the fashion. Punk isn't about fashion. But you know, in my opinion, the fashion part, in the punk politics, the whole thing is pissing off normal people. The whole point is not being conservative. The whole point is being crazy, you know, to scare the normal people. And being open-minded. So I'd say being a bit crazy is even a bit good in punk because, you know, it scares the conservative. It scares the local grandma, you know. It scares the president. I don't know. You know all that. Well, yeah, something like that. So do something crazy. If you're going for a classic punk rock look, which is very like, you know, flashy. Hell yeah. But we have, like, lately we don't have that many of those here. Over here where I live, there's mostly crust punks, so you might only see the crust punks. I have only seen the like 2 regular punks, or 3 or so. So yeah. Notification. Alright, so you know, you can very like experiment with the fashion to match your political view. And you know, very cool. Fashion is not important, but the politics very important. Of course, there are, if I didn't finish my sentence that time when I tried to talk about it, but there are people that are like, this isn't about fashion. I want to dress normally. Only valid punks are those who dress normally. That is not true. Everyone that has the political view, basically, what's their whole like ideology? You know, feminism, anarchy, socialism. Socialism not in the communist kind of way. Socialism in the, you know, you help each other out. You are good to each other. You try to support each other. You know, work as a community. Not as in, you know, whatever that fucking was. Like, you know, fascism. Let's say what it was, you know. No. Get the hell out of here. You're also, if you hold the political views, very, very, very against Nazis. Which is normal thing, but apparently in this day and age it's not. Which is kind of weird because, I mean, what century is it? Like, at this point you have to, like, you know, hate Nazis. Nazi punks back in the day were a bit, like, a lot more common. At least, thank God, they went away for a while. Now they're back again. I don't know why. So, be very against them. Don't. What was the thing? They had actually these shoelace codes too. You shouldn't, I don't know, Some people say it's dead, some people say it's not. Just like, if you wear the wrong shoelace color, that's okay. If someone comes up to you and is like, are you a Nazi? You could just be like, I'm not a Nazi, I didn't know about the color code. That's all you need to say. But, just don't wear red and white. I think there were other colors too, but those are the ones I remember, because white was like white supremacy and the red was, I'm pretty sure, for Nazis. So those two, better not, otherwise you will get punched probably. Of course, unless you say, oh, I didn't burn for the political, then nobody cares. What the fuck is with my finger? That's how to, kind of like, like a small guide. And really, these things aren't that difficult to search up. I mean, if you're lazy to search up, I can actually make videos on this. Instead, like, go in detail about the punk mindset and about what punk stands for, what gods believe in, and, But this is the general guideline that you can actually just search up on Wikipedia or everything else, and all your questions will be answered. But yeah, something like that. And that's like my small how to not be called a poser. Even though everyone hates it, I say this word, but I think it might help some people, especially like me. When I was a poser, I think it would have helped me to not make a joke of myself because I thought, oh yeah, I'm such rocker. Yes, I like Slipknot. And it was like, I only knew 5 metal bands. And when I was a goth, I didn't know that many bands either, but I actually, at that point, I was researching them a lot, so not that much of a poser. I was mostly a poser when I was a metalhead. What else about punks? Please don't become a gutter punk. Try to not, take from the poor if you're poor yourself. It's kind of... But that's a whole another story, and, if you're a punk, you can have your own political beliefs. I just told you the mains. Also, I got furniture finally. I had to get it from a.k.a. sadly. I would have gotten it off Facebook Marketplace, but I don't own a car because, well, who can afford a car these days? Besides the one-time purchase for years. So I got shelves and tables. That's it. I have this one table for hobbies and this one is for, actual, because my hobbies usually take up so much space. So yeah. Cat, say goodbye.